Not gonna lie to you guys, I wasn't aware that they released 2 episodes of Snowpiercer in one night. So that means I had to move this video up by a week. So here is my review on Snowpiercer Season 1. Snowpiercer is an adaptation of the 2013 film, and it is 7 years after the world has become a frozen wasteland. The remnants of humanity inhabit a constantly moving train that circles around the globe, where class warfare, social injustice, and the politics of survival play out. Yeah, so as I said, this is based on the film, but it isn't a prequel, it isn't a sequel, it's entirely different. But let's find out what I think about it. So we move into the pros. And I just need to say straight away that this season gets better as it goes along. Mainly the last 4 episodes for me is when I started to actually properly enjoy it. It takes a while to get everything established, so once it is established and they can move forward with the plot, it gets very interesting. There's a really good performance from Jennifer Connelly. She portrays Melanie, who's this very interesting character. She seems like a good person at heart, but she has to do some very bad things to survive and keep everything civil, and therefore she has to keep it secret, which gets a bit complicated as the season goes on. You can understand both sides, like you can understand why she's done it, but then you also understand why everyone else is very angry and is against her. Another interesting character is the character Till, who you're introduced to at the beginning as this real, like, stands for nothing kind of person who is completely against the other classes, but she has a very interesting arc as the season plays out, and she's a whole different person by the end. And the way some things play out through the whole season and things get interesting in the last few episodes, it sets up an interesting ending which have things entirely different planned for season 2. I'm moving on to the cons. I'm not sure if this is popular opinion or not, but I mentioned this, but in the pros, it takes time to really find its tone. When it does find that tone, it's completely different to what the movie is. The movie feels a lot darker. This feels more kind of washed up for the big TV show kind of screen for wider audiences, which is understandable, but it feels very different to what is established in the movie. I know it's involved with how the actual season plays out, but at the beginning of the season there's this uninteresting murder mystery kind of plot I found very basic, very boring. I know it ties into what happens later on. I know it's involved with how things play out. I've said play out so many times, but you just have to get past it. It's not very entertaining in my opinion. And there are very few characters you actually care about. One being you actually kind of care about, who gets a lot of growth, who you see a lot of side to, which makes you kind of feel attached to them, is the actual like villain, also Melanie. But even like the antagonists, there aren't really too many you care about. I personally didn't care too much for Leighton, who is the main character of the show. I wasn't really too moved by his performance. I thought it was pretty standard. All the other characters seem quite forgetful. You're kind of introduced to many characters in the first episode, but because of how things go throughout the season, you don't really see them until like the last 2 episodes, and they kind of expect you to care a lot about them even though you don't really know them in truth. And I know that they have a TV budget, it's not massive, but they constantly go on every episode about how the Snowpiercer is 1001 cars long. On the interior, you only see about 7 to 10 cars. But yeah, understandable, but it just would have been cool to at least see some variety at some point, because a lot of things can happen in that amount of cars. And keeping on topic about the train, I didn't buy it as a train. In the movie, you could see like the shakiness where they're actually moving constantly. But this, it just felt too still. It felt like they're just inside a building. I didn't buy it as a train. And even when it did show the outside of the train or whatever, the CGI wasn't too good. But yeah, once again, I know poor TV budget, but they could have made it feel more real. So to cap things off in my final verdict, I mentioned this Snowpiercer, the TV show, feels entirely different to the movie. The movie had a much darker tone, but this feels it's kind of been sieved into a wider audience as it is on a TV show, which once again is understandable, but just feels very basic compared to the uniqueness of the movie. But also in terms of a TV show, it felt very bland, very boring, didn't feel like anything special. I always rate my movies on IMDb, and for the majority of this season I had it on a 5 out of 10, but as the last few episodes rolled in, it budged up just a little bit to a 6 out of 10. And in terms of recommendation, I do not recommend it. It's very bland, very boring, and it doesn't feel anything like the actual movie. I really hope you enjoyed this review on season 1 of Snowpiercer. Please let me know in the comments what you thought of this show. I know it's coming back for a second season, which was weird. They announced the trailer immediately after it concluded to the final episode. Please let me know also how I can improve my videos, as I'm looking to kind of reach 100 subscribers sometime soon. I'm currently on 55 subscribers, so thank you a lot for that. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you in my next video.